Their trademark weapon is deadly.
Trinitarios know how to work with machetes and fight with them. They will just cut your hand and that's it.
They not just want to do a little assault on you. They want to put you 6 feet under.
They don't shoot their victims. They butcher them.
A whole arm could come on. The leg, wherever they hit you at, is gone.
They are the Trinitarios, one of New York's most lethal and fastest rising gangs.
You kill somebody with a gun, you ain't nothing. But if you kill somebody with a knife, I mean, you're real.
The Big Apple. It's filled with some of the world's most familiar landmarks. Broadway, the Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty.
New York is very, very big. You have the business district, the financial market. New York has a shower law for everybody.
Far less welcoming is a group of outlaws that call New York City home. A brutal gang, more than 1,000 strong, with roots in the Dominican Republic. They are the Trinitarios. Their goal is to dominate America's largest city.
The Trinitarios, they always want to be on top. They want to be on top of Bloods, they want to be on top of Kings, they want to be on top of Nietas. They got to be on top always.
The Trinitarios were born and bred in the New York City prison system. Now, they're spreading across the city's 5 boroughs and creeping into nearby Hudson County, New Jersey.
They feel the heat in New York and then they come over here. Or if they've committed a crime and they wanted to get away, they'll hide away over here in New Jersey.
They've built their violent reputations wielding a simple but grisly weapon.
They don't go out there and shoot people. They're mostly machetes. They're slashing people and cutting people.
You hit him and you pull it back, he brings everything out.
Blade, a high-ranking Trinitario in one of the New Jersey chapters, fears retaliation for speaking out about the gang. He asked to have his identity concealed. Blade came to the United States from the Dominican Republic in 1993 when he was 13.
First month when I was over here, I stabbed my sister in the arm because she was trying to smack me.
It wasn't his first assault. Blade already had a violent reputation.
I stabbed somebody in the heart. I was like 11 years old because he was trying to take my sneakers.
Blade and his family settled in Jersey City, across the Hudson River from Manhattan. It was a tough adjustment.
Yeah, I didn't speak English when I came over here. And when I used to go to school, I used to get jumped every day. Everybody basically.
Blade joined the Trinitarios and quickly made his own reputation.
The leader of a Latin King went to my block and he threw me a punch. So when he did that, I pulled out the machete. I hit him in the head. Then I hit him like four more times in the arm because he went like that. He got a lot of stitches. He got like 50-something stitches in his head.
That kind of one-on-one brutality has shocked even hardened New Jersey cops, like Davis Valdivia.
A machete, I'm going to take a limb off, depending on where I swing it. If I swing it at your neck, I'm going to take your neck off.
For years, he's seen firsthand how the Trinitarios get up close and personal.
With a gun, you can shoot somebody from far away and not even see the person. To stab somebody, you got to get up and close and really to stick somebody.
But assaults aren't the gang's only crime.
They're definitely in the drug business. They're definitely in the home invasion business. Assaults, robberies, they run the gamut, just like any other super gang.
The Trinitarios have turf all over the Bronx and the Washington Heights section of Upper Manhattan. Washington Heights is home to many Dominican immigrants and is a transportation hub. 6 bridges, 3 highways, and 3 tunnels are nearby, all allowing for quick access to the entire metropolitan area. It's the perfect setup for drug dealers and gang members on the run, making it difficult for law enforcement to track them.
There's going to be a group of people trained in the non-Trinitario area.
Okay, I just received information from one of my guys that the person that that is doing the hand-to-hand transaction is coming towards our area now.
Thanks to the easy access between New York and New Jersey, the Trinitarios have a lucrative narcotics business in both states.
It's so easy to travel from one place to another that if they have a problem with the law enforcement, they'll move to another spot.
Well, number one, he's selling drugs on the street, so he gotta go. He's selling cocaine.
They can make about 10, 15,000 a day.
They doing drugs. They selling drugs. If you owe them money, they're gonna kill you.
This gang member, Loco, has also asked to have his identity concealed. Loco began hanging with the Trinitarios when he was 16.
I was attracted to them by the way that they used to hang out. Money and girls. They used to drink. If you didn't have money, they would give you money to eat, to get whatever you want.
He ran into trouble with the law when a brawl broke out at one of their parties.
Some three from New York came and stopped the guy 5 times. And from that time, we all got locked up.
Loco found himself behind bars for 6 months in the Hudson County Jail. His cellmates were all hardened gang members, and Loco had to make a life-or-death decision.
When I went to jail, it was so crazy because I wasn't a member of a gang. I had to make a choice. Or I'll be neutral and I get beat up, or I'll become Trinitario.
Loco joined the Trinitarios.
You gotta fight for respect. If you don't fight for respect inside, you're gonna get beat up. You're gonna get killed.
Though New York authorities have battled the Trinitarios for years, the gang has flown under the radar of New Jersey PD.
We weren't aware of them. We heard rumblings of them. We heard the names being thrown around, but we didn't know who they were or what they were about.
But a savage crime would change everything. August 24th, 2003, Union City. Trinitarios from all over northern New Jersey joined thousands who lined the streets for the annual Dominican Independence Day Parade.
It's supposed to be a joyous occasion, and it's supposed to be fun for all the family and for everyone who's Dominican.
Police were also on alert for gang activity, which had arisen in years past.
And a number of people attend the parade with the idea that they should be proud of being who they are, and sometimes who they are gang members.
Detective Davis Valdivia was on a routine assignment to tape surveillance video from a rooftop near the end of the parade route. The stakeout was strictly a precaution.
I just would zoom in on people's faces and later on try to identify them. If something should happen in the future, we have informants throughout Union City, and we can go to them and show them the tape and try to get people ID'd.
4 months earlier, Tensions between the New Jersey Trinitarios and one of their rivals, a fierce street gang called the 60th Street Boys, had ended in bloodshed.
They were arguing possibly about a girl when a member of the Trinitarios pulled a knife. One of the 60th Street Boys took the knife away and pretty brutally stabbed a member of the Trinitarios.
The victim survived, and the attacker was arrested. But the New Jersey Trinitarios had yet to exact their revenge. Now, as the parade wound through the streets, Detective Valdivia scanned the crowd with his camera. Suddenly, some new faces caught his attention.
There was some individuals in the group that I never seen before, and I zoomed in on them.
The new gang members turned out to be Trinitarios from New York. 4 months had passed since the 60th Street stabbing, and the New York members were angry that their New Jersey crew hadn't retaliated.
The guy from New York, it was like, and you haven't done nothing? So we gonna do something. They kill anybody and they don't care.
They had to do this to let everyone know that this is what happens to you when you mess with the Trinitarios.
The Trinitarios confronted the 60th Street Boys, but they weren't about to go down without a fight. They challenged the Trinitarios to settle the beef after the parade.
The 60th Street local gang basically says, if you want some of this, you know where to find us.
The Trinitarios were ready for battle. They met in a nearby schoolyard and planned their revenge.
They would execute a coordinated attack on the 60th Street Boys on 60th Street on their own turf.
What happened next would put the New Jersey Trinitarios on the map.
They definitely made a name for themselves that day.
They gotta respect our parade and they gotta respect our colors. And we're Trinitarios, so we're going after them.
New York City. It's the gateway to the United States. A symbol of opportunity, hope, and the American dream. It's also the breeding ground for a fast-rising criminal enterprise that silences its victims with machetes, a Dominican gang called the Trinitarios.
Trinitarios, they kill people, they rob people, they kidnap people. Yeah, they doing the money quick.
The Dominican Republic is the second largest nation in the Caribbean, with a long history of hardship. In 1961, the country's harsh dictator, Rafael Trujillo, was assassinated, ending his oppression, but throwing the country into chaos. For the next few decades, tens of thousands of immigrants fled to New York, all in search of a better life.
They came here to the U.S., which at the time was experiencing pretty decent manufacturing job market, and Dominicans came here to work.
In the Dominican Republic, you only make 3,000 pesos a month. That's like $125.
Sucks. Nobody want to be there.
By 1990, there were 250,000 Dominicans in the New York metropolitan area. Most were productive citizens, but some got caught up in the city's crack epidemic and violent underworld.
Everybody want to be thugs and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So everybody's doing crime over here.
The cops took action, and Dominicans began streaming into the New York City correction system, including the notorious Rikers Island Penitentiary, just east of Manhattan. They quickly became the targets of violent, more established gangs, like the Bloods, Crips, and Latin Kings.
Dominicans at the time were the minority. Many of them found themselves to be abused by the other ethnic groups that were present.
You see a lot of extortion in jail. People taking your commissary, people making you wash their drawers, beating you up for a phone call.
In 1990, one Dominican inmate rebelled against the abuse. Pedro Nunez, aka El Caballon, was serving an 18-year sentence at Rikers for weapons possession. El Caballon formed his own gang, Trinitarios, which means Trinity. He took the name from three revered leaders of the Dominican independence movement from Haiti in the 1840s.
He saw the abuses that were occurring, and just like Duarte, Sanchez, and Mella saw that the Dominicans were being abused, he felt the same way and started this group with the same name as the founding fathers of the Dominican Republic, the Trinitarios.
For the first time, the Dominican convicts had protection under the Trinitarios. But the gang kept a low profile to escape the watchful eye of prison officials.
They kept it very quiet about what was going on for obvious reasons. The Trinitarios on Rikers Island basically operate as a secret society that's there to protect Dominicans.
As their numbers grew into the hundreds, the Trinitarios began dominating the other gangs.
I don't care what anybody said. In New York, if you're not a Trini in jail, you're nothing. Ain't no blood, Crips, Latin King, nothing. Trini run New York.
El Caballon's domain expanded in the mid-1990s as Trinitarios finished their time at Rikers and returned to the streets. With El Caballon running the gang from prison, the Trinitarios took new shape in the heavily Dominican neighborhood of Washington Heights in Upper Manhattan.
So they started making, like, if you're gonna be a Trini in here, you gotta represent Trini out there. And you're not just gonna be a Trini in jail for protection. You gotta be a Trini in the street too. You gotta represent.
The Trinitarios unleashed a crime wave that ran through Washington Heights into the Bronx and Brooklyn.
They started doing narcotics distribution, possession of weapons, and violent crimes.
In 1995, in the Bronx alone, nearly a murder a day was occurring, thanks in part to the Trinitarios. The gang began smuggling cocaine from the Dominican Republic, using ingenious and dangerous methods.
They'll bring drugs to the state by swallowing it, boofing it.
These carriers, known as mules, could hide a half-pound or more of narcotics, risking death with each trip.
Imagine you with more than 300 grams inside your stomach. Anything could go wrong. You can't eat, you can't drink nothing.
Jefe, a Dominican native, asked to have his identity concealed. He and his family moved to the Bronx in 1992.
There's always something going on around there. Someone getting shot, someone getting caught for selling drugs.
Jefe's father worked long hours driving a cab. He insisted Jefe stay at home while he was working because of the many gangs that terrorized the hood.
It was usually Bloods and Crips. You know, they had Latin Kings, they had Nietas, Zulu Nation, and you would hear a few gunshots.
The gang violence was impossible to avoid. In 1998, the NYPD in Jefe's precinct reported over 2,000 violent crimes, including rape, robbery, burglary, and murder.
It was dangerous. The 4-4 precinct is the busiest precinct in the Bronx.
Jefe had to stick with his Dominican brothers for protection.
There was a lot of race going on, race issue, Dominicans and blacks. They would come and pick up Dominicans on high school, junior high school.
Documentary TV.
And we would just retaliate.
By 1999, the Trinitarios had hundreds of members in New York City and a brutal reputation that stunned even law enforcement.
They had to go to the extreme to prove themselves to the other gangs that they could compete with them in the streets or drug sales.
They attacked their rivals with machetes, common weapons in the Dominican Republic, but rarely seen in this urban jungle.
We used to carry a machete in our pants, our book bag, our sleeves. Wherever we could have fit it, we would have carried it.
Armed, dangerous, and in control of New York, the Trinitarios were anxious to expand their territory. They found it right across the Hudson River. For years, New Jersey had attracted Dominicans who craved the advantages of the city, but with a lower cost of living. All it took was one Trinitario, and New York's inner-city gang epidemic spread like a virus into the suburbs of New Jersey.
It started only by one person in Bayonne, and then from Bayonne, it got all the way up to Union City and West New York.
The New York members began mentoring their New Jersey counterparts.
They didn't have a structure at the moment, so they started helping them and teaching them how to do the stuff, how to sell their own guns, manufacture their own drugs.
As the gang became more organized, so did its drug trade. The power of the Trinitarios was spreading fast.
They go through the George Washington Bridge, so they transport the drugs from New York to Jersey City, and then from Jersey City they spread it up north.
New recruits were easily found in local high schools. Blade joined his sophomore year, then dropped out of school to focus on his new family.
When I became a Trini, it was all about taking care of people. You needed money for rent, we there. Like, nobody wanted to mess with Trini.
Their ruthless use of crude, store-bought machetes made it even more obvious that the Trinitarios meant business. Loco witnessed one fight that drove the point home.
So there was 9 kids trying to fight with them. So I seen some guy that just grabbed a machete and tried to cut off his arm. He hit him a few times that his arm was falling down.
Loco was inspired by the gang's fearlessness. The drug money was an added bonus.
I used to sell drugs. I felt like I was doing something wrong, but I liked the money.
By 2003, the Trinitarios had more than 100 members in northern New Jersey alone. Though the gang had long been in the sights of New York City PD, their growing numbers were still a secret across the Hudson. It would take a cold-blooded killing before New Jersey authorities got the message.
And it was so quick. I mean, it was just like wildfire. They just started spreading all over Hudson County.
The Trinitarios, a machete-wielding Dominican super gang in New York City, is spreading its brutal violence into neighboring New Jersey.
They were operating under the radar for a while before anybody got to know who they really were and what they were about.
Trinitarios take pride in their Dominican roots. It starts with their name.
It comes from the word Trinity, from the Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
The gang's colors are those of the Dominican flag. Red, white, blue, and most significantly, lime green.
The center of the flag got green. It means like earth. That's why we represent green. If you're wearing green, you want the mind.
They always carrying a green bandana or a green scarf or a green hat. Anything that they wear green, it shows that they are Trinis.
The gang also uses the flag as the basis of their motto.
If you look at the Dominican flag, you have 3 words on top. It says Dios, Patria, and Libertad, which is God, country, and liberty.
To recognize one another, members frequently greet each other with the numbers 41, 6, 12.
41, 6, 12. That's to know if you a Trinitario. You'll be asked, you son of Duarte? You say 41, 6, 12. Like, yeah, I'm Trinitario.
The numbers are a secret code the Trinitarios use to hide their identity.
But it's really 4, 16, 12, which are the respective locations for the D, P, and the L, and the alphabetical number. It's a code. So they'll make 4 and 16, 41, and 6.
The letters D, P, and L show up in almost all of the gang's markings. Trinitarios aren't required to get inked, but those who do choose symbols of the motherland.
Most of the Trinis, they do the Dominican flag, DPL, Dios, Patria, Libertad.
Another popular tack is the symbol 3NI.
3 is for the 3 colors of our flag and the 3 fathers of our country. And the 9 is short for Trinitario.
Trinitarios also represent with hand signs.
There's 2 guns up. It's in the center of our flag. And that's the 3 fathers of our country, the 3 colors of our flag, and DPO, Dios, Patria, Libertad. That's the D for Trinis, and it's like a cross, because our flag have like a cross that divide the colors.
The Trinitarios are highly organized and enforce strict rules.
I want to say maybe second to the Latin Kings, they're probably the most structured gang.
All of the gang's chapters are organized the same way.
Trinitarian structure, everything is 3. So there's 3 top, then you break it down into 3 heads for each chapter.
They'll start off with the head, which they call a cabeza. They'll have a secretary, they'll have a treasurer, they'll have security, they'll have an enforcer.
There is even an advisor who handles the members' personal business.
He's the one, like, if you have a problem, like with your family and stuff like that, you need somebody to talk to, you talk to him.
Leaders who get busted are quickly replaced.
If I get sent upstate, whoever's second is first, third is second, and third will be a new man, you know?
Trinitarios initiate some recruits with beat-ins. Others just need a good recommendation from a trusted crew member.
If they know you already put in work, you know you fight and all that, they won't make you go through that hassle. You're like, oh, I know him, man, he gets down.
All members must learn and obey the gang's basic code. The 7 points.
God, respect, love, peace, courage, nation, and liberty.
Gangsters who mess up get DP'd.
You get 3 people that's gonna hit you for 3 minutes. It's from down to the head to the body.
A second violation means twice the discipline.
So you gotta make sure you don't do it again, because when you do the second time, you're gonna get 6 minutes. The third time, you're gonna get suspension. You ain't gonna be no treating no more.
Chapters hold regular meetings where they collect dues and conduct business.
The money that we collect in every meeting is just in case you get locked up, we can send you money to jail.
Once a year, Trinitarios from all over New York and New Jersey meet for a universal.
They'll have universal so everybody could come down and be a part of what's going on.
New York Trinitarios, older and more experienced than their suburban brothers, still call the shots.
I would say New York probably has more of an influence on Jersey and probably tells them what to do, or what to say, or how to act if they don't like what they're seeing or hearing.
That's what happened in August 2003 at the Dominican Day Parade in New Jersey. The New York Trinitarios discovered that their Jersey brothers had been attacked and issued their secret call to arms.
227 is 27. It means you go to war.
The numbers are a code for February 27th, 1844, the day the Dominican Republic declared independence from its Haitian rulers. In Hudson County, it would signify that all hell was about to break loose.
As soon as somebody said 227, my people gonna come, and they're gonna come ready.
August 24th, 2003, Hudson County. It was New Jersey's annual Dominican Day Parade. From a rooftop, Detective Davis Valdivia videotaped the crowd, on the lookout for gang violence.
I was up there for several hours. I would say probably 6 hours on that roof.
Little did he know that the bloodthirsty Dominican street gang, the Trinitarios, was out for revenge. 4 months earlier, a 60th Street gang member had stabbed a New Jersey Trinitario. The victim recovered, but the Trinitarios had yet to settle the score. An unacceptable situation for their New York brothers.
They were upset that one of their members was stabbed and nothing was done about it.
If someone messes with one of their members and it goes unpunished, they will essentially be viewed as chumps.
The New York Trinitarios were hell-bent on revenge and planned to get it on their opponent's own turf. They strategized their attack at a local schoolyard late that afternoon. At the suggestion of a New York leader, they traded their traditional machetes for screwdrivers.
It was easy at the moment, because the guy from Brooklyn was like, oh no, we're not gonna carry none of that. What if we get stopped by the cop? They see us with screwdrivers in the car, they're not gonna bother us with that.
They sharpened the tips for good measure.
They armed themselves with those screwdrivers, ripped clothing apart that were rags in the trunk of the car, and wrapped it around the handle. If there's cloth on the handle, your hand won't slip when you stab someone with it, and you're never going to leave fingerprints.
The gang was prepared for cold-blooded murder.
You can't really slice anybody with a screwdriver. I mean, it's only one purpose is to jab and puncture.
2 carloads of Trinitarios headed straight for the heart of the 60th Street Boys territory in West New York. They found what they were looking for at the corner gas station at 60th Street and Broadway. The Trinitarios confronted 21-year-old Jameer Brown, who was an associate of the gang.
Once they approached him, they asked for an individual by the name of Munchi. That's the same individual that had words with them during the parade.
Munchi was nowhere in sight, but Brown stood up for his friend to the bloodthirsty mob.
He responds to them saying he's not here, and if you have a problem with him, you have a problem with me.
The Trinitarios pulled out their screwdrivers.
Someone ran up to him and stabbed him. And then they were all over him, stabbing him.
Brown went down instantly. One of his friends, a 16-year-old, tried to break up the assault.
One individual of the 60th Street Boys actually went to his aid, and he wound up getting stabbed in the forearm.
Jameer's friend was able to escape and ran to alert police. He suffered a severe stab wound and would later need 19 stitches, but he survived the attack. Jameer Brown was not so lucky. The the screwdrivers had ripped through a crucial artery.
The Trinitarios scattered, leaving Jameer Brown essentially dying on the street.
Brown died at a local hospital 90 minutes later. The murder sent a clear message from the Trinitarios to its many rivals.
You do something to one of my peoples, I'm gonna do something to you. That's why we gotta do to be known, so we can get our respect.
If you mess with one of them, you're gonna mess with all of them.
It also sent a message to New Jersey police, who finally realized the Trinitarios were in their own backyard.
That was the first time that I actually heard of Trinitarios.
After the parade is when I really learned about the Trinitarios. And since that day, things made a lot more sense to me.
New Jersey PD immediately started hunting down the attackers and managed to catch 3 of them that night. By morning, Detective Valdivia was already interrogating one of the suspects, Trinitario Alex Colon. He showed Colon surveillance video of the parade.
He sat there, viewed the videotape, and I recall him pointing to the individuals that I zoomed in on. He would say, that's so one of them, and that's so-and-so. He was there, and he was in the car, and he just went on and on.
On November 25th, 2003, police in New York City and Hudson County made 5 more arrests. A 6th suspect was arrested a few weeks later. 2 more were in custody by March 2004.
The charges included murder, aggravated assault, and unlawful possession of weapon.
Among those charged were 2 alleged high-ranking Trinitario leaders, 22-year-old Ricardo Osorio of New York and 21-year-old Pablo Molina of New Jersey. The prosecution's case was coming together.
I counted about 56 witnesses that were possibly going to testify if needed.
Prosecutors also had a star witness. Alex Colon, the gangster who identified suspects on the parade videotape, was in jail facing a murder charge. He was cooperating with the prosecution against the Trinitarios in the hopes of receiving a reduced sentence.
Colon gave us a nice big picture. He could point to all the parties.
But Colon would never make it to the stand.
Our case seemed as if it would fall apart.
Hudson County, New Jersey, 2004. Police there were carefully building a case against the Trinitarios, who had repeatedly stabbed and killed 21-year-old Jameer Brown.
Screwdrivers, a lot of which were described as scary and old and rusty. It was a pretty brutal attack.
8 defendants were set to stand trial. One of them, 23-year-old Alex Colon, was cooperating with police.
He provided quite a bit of information.
The case looked solid until January 2005.
Colon was killed by a fellow inmate in jail.
No one could prove the Trinitarios had murdered Colon to keep his mouth shut. And the prosecution was now in big trouble. Their star witness was dead, and other witnesses were terrified they might be next.
They wouldn't speak to us.
The state was now scrambling to rebuild its case.
So we had to start putting a whole different case together. And now this was now a patchwork of witnesses.
January 5th, 2006. The first Trinitario defendant one of the alleged New York leaders, Ricardo Osorio, went on trial. 18 days later, the jury convicted him of conspiracy to commit homicide. In May, the second defendant, Ramon Almonte, also went on trial. This time, Detective Davis Valdivia, who had taped the Dominican Day Parade where the fight began, took the stand as an expert witness.
I was able to show motive. I was able to show why they would respond the way they did.
Almonte was also found guilty of conspiracy to commit homicide. He and Osorio received sentences of up to 20 years in prison. The 5 other defendants, including Pablo Molina, one of the alleged New Jersey leaders, pled out before their trials began. The convictions dealt a major blow to the gang.
I like to think that what we did here discouraged the Trinitarios and disrupted what they intended to do, which was begin a network in New Jersey.
But today, the Trinitarios show little sign of slowing down. In March 2009, Manhattan authorities made a huge bust in Washington Heights. 41 alleged Trinitarios were indicted on charges from drug distribution to weapons possession.
They had blocks and blocks of narcotics in every corner selling them.
If you wasn't a Trini, you wasn't gonna sell drugs in New York. That's how they was doing it.
Since the shakedown, law enforcement on both sides of the Hudson River has kept close watch on the gang.
It's important that we have contact with them, just to let them know that we up here and we got our eye on them.
They know how we operate, and we kind of know how they operate.
Detective Valdivia is now a full-time gang investigator in a nearby county. He still considers the Trinitarios to be a major threat to New Jersey and beyond.
They're definitely in Connecticut. There are reports of them in Florida. They definitely have grown. They've definitely gotten bigger.
Not every gangster is in it for the long haul. Loco is no longer active in the Trinitarios. He says he's done spending time behind bars.
The future of them is going to jail because what they do is crimes. They're just so stupid because they're making money out of it, or they're just stabbing people and getting locked up for no reason.
Loco is trying to build a new life apart from the gang, but fears he's a marked man.
If I show my face, I will be in mad trouble. I'm gonna tell people that want to see this, young kids, don't get into Trinis. They ain't worth it.
After years with his New Jersey chapter, Blade has also left the Trinitarios. He received the gang's blessing after having a child.
It was like, man, you cool, you already have a family. So that's the only way that you can get out of it. If you want to do something with your life, they respect that.
Hefe got a similar reprieve after starting a family. His perspective on the gang has changed since leaving Rikers Island in 2006.
I'm lucky I'm alive. I used to do a lot of crazy. But now that I'm older, I got a different mentality.
But these former gangsters are in the minority. The Trinitarios are on a mission to dominate even more of the New York City area. Nothing will stop them.
Fighting, stabbing people, robbing people. Nobody can touch us, not even cops.
I see them not stopping. I see them growing in number. I see them getting more violent.
There will never be peace. 10 years from now, you're gonna still hear Trinitarios